Happy Tuesday. We got some new sculpting tools to show you. Thanks for joining. If you got our email last week, we also posted on social. We've got some cool new sculpting tools. These have been in the works for quite a while, actually. Believe it or not, it's hard to make such a fine little delicate tool like this, but I'm really excited about them. We have 4 shapes, and so they're each a little bit different. They each have kind of the same handle shape to them, which I'll show, and then they each have just a very unique, very delicate, thin sculpting blade to them. So these, if you're a hand builder, you're a thrower, and you're thinking, well, maybe I don't do that much sculpting, they're really useful for all sorts of stuff. So even if you're smoothing a little handle or you're doing any kind of little detail work, it's really nice to have such a little fine, delicate tip on these. So I'll just talk a little bit about each one. I don't have a great big sculpture to show you right now, but that's okay. The first one is this little paddle shape, and kind of the most universal. It literally is like a wooden blade. It has a sharp, thin edge on there, and you can do all sorts of very delicate little smoothing zones. You can kind of get an idea where you can get a very sharp, crisp edge up against something and then smooth it with that paddle. And so this is something that there's other tools that do sculpting, but we really try to make the thinnest, most delicate, most little versatile little blade there is. So that's the paddle shape. On the back of all these is kind of a sort of a thumb shape. It's our version of like what you'd say like a finger. That's good for all sorts of, moving clay around, pushing stuff around. A lot more robust. So if you're doing some like heavy movement, heavy sculpting, you got a really handy shape on the back there. The other thing is that if I have a little bit larger hand, so what's nice is if you want some little delicate movements, you can do that. They will also fit a grip. So we ship all these with a grip on them. You can use this, you don't have to, but you can if you want. So it helps a little bit if you're trying to sort of have a little bit something more to grip onto. So keep that in mind. If you see it online, you see a picture, it's because we primarily want to use the grip for shipping. It keeps it nice and safe. But if you want to use it, go for it. The next one is a sort of the opposite shape. It's a very square flathead. So for anything where you're doing kind of very, square corners, lines, you want to work into little areas and get something square going. The sculpting number 2 is going to be what you want. So this one, we really tried to lean into the sharp corners. You still have a very thin, delicate edge on there, but it's just going to give you that little bit different shape that you can use to do all sorts of little designs for it. So that's going to be the square one. You can imagine this one's got all sort of rounded corners, so very organic, smooth sort of paddle shape, but it's not going to give you that nice square, crisp corner. The number 4 is, I've got a number 3 right here. This is sort of like a little bit more of like a classic sort of teardrop point. It's fully rounded, so if you are poking a hole in something and you want to bevel around those edges, this will be the tool for you. It does have a point to it, so you can still get into really fine, pretty details on there. But what's nice about, you have a little bit more dimension is if you're kind of doing, again, more organic, sort of think like fabric or folds or anything where you need to go in and smooth a circle or a hole, this will be the one for you. Even if you're reaching underneath a mug, for example, I have this one here. If you got to reach under and do some smoothing, you can use that round corner to do all sorts of work in tiny little zones like that. So just a completely different shape, same back end. The fourth one is what we're calling a flat spear. So this is a spear shape, and then this is a flat spear. It's the same sort of profile, but it's very thin. It has that same delicate, skinny little blade on it. And this one's similar to the first two, but if you want to really get in and do some very, very fine little detail, and this might not even show up on camera, this one's gonna be the one that you want. And they're so thin at the end. They're sturdy, so we tried a number of different woods on this. This is gonna be very strong. You're obviously not gonna wanna stick this in a big piece of clay and bend it around, but for any of this little delicate work, it's gonna be plenty sturdy, and you can actually go in and sort of cut some very thin, delicate sort of lines or texture. This is different than carving. You know, it really is in more of like the sculpting, you're working with that clay, but you are able to cut some very, very thin, delicate lines. Same with the first one. We kind of refer to it as like a wooden blade on there. So we really spent a long time trying to perfect this true wooden blade. So there you go. What's nice about this one, I've used it for, is if you have to get like a little undercut, you can do that. For example, if I'm trying to make this square look like it's kind of like detached underneath here, I can slip this under. It's very thin, so you're not going to displace a whole lot of clay. I'm just making a very delicate little undercut in there. Just like that. And I know this is just sort of like a demonstration, but you can see how you got to use the right shape for the right little job. There we go. So something as simple as that, where, you know, okay, we want to make a little square indent that looks like it's set in there. That's all just sculpting tools. So sculpting's a whole realm of pottery. Again, not everyone might work with it, or if you think, oh, I don't necessarily sculpt, but every once in a while you have a need for doing some very delicate little work, or some getting into some little fine little details. You know, these are going to be the right tools for the job. So they come individually or a 4-pack. What's really cool right now is we're doing a little bit of a promo with them. It's free shipping on your whole order if you add one of these to the cart or the set. So feel free to take advantage of that. It does not include clay or glaze or the sink. So that stuff is very heavy. And it's domestic only, unfortunately. So sorry, Australia, New Zealand. Folks that are really far away, that's still going to be a struggle. So keep that in mind. You add any one of these tools or the set to your cart, you got free shipping on your whole order. And that's kind of all I wanted to show you. Make sure I didn't miss any questions here. Oh yeah, definitely feed your ceramic addiction with these. You need them. Don't miss them. All right. No, thanks for joining on this quick one. Go check them out online. We got a cool video out there too that we'll be posting more of, just to kind of show some more uses of all these little details. But it's a lot of fun. It's very, if you haven't even just sculpted like a little minion or a little figure before, give it a shot. It's surprising how fun it is just to kind of relax and work on something small. So thanks for joining. Stay tuned for any other announcements we got. And one more quick thing is, if you are in the area, or even if you want to join in, we're doing a little something with the Ventura Potters Guild next Monday night. And so it's open to the public. It's a Zoom workshop basically, and I'll be on there talking through a lot of the carving tools and sort of a variety of everything we've got. So that'll be tomorrow night, Monday, I believe it's 7 to 8 p.m. California time, Pacific. So tune in for that if you're interested. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Thanks for coming.